Dreams are not supposed to be comfortable. If they are, they're just plans. The kind of dreams that change lives, that change the world, are the ones that make your heart race and your hands tremble a little. They're the ones that feel just out of reach, and that's exactly why you need to chase them. Because the moment you set your sights on something that scares you, you begin to grow into the person you were always meant to be. When I was a teenager, I didn't imagine I'd become Miss World. In fact, I didn't even see myself as beautiful. I was awkward, insecure, and unsure of my place in the world. But something inside me wanted more. I didn't have a roadmap, I didn't know what steps to take, but I knew I wanted to create a life that excited me, a life that felt bigger than anything I had seen around me. So I took a chance on myself. I entered a beauty pageant not because I thought I would win, but because I believed I had something in me that deserved a shot. That's the thing about dreaming big. It doesn't start with confidence, it starts with courage. People will often tell you to be realistic, to stay safe, to follow the script. But let me tell you this, no one ever made history by playing it safe. No one ever changed their destiny by staying comfortable. I've taken on roles I wasn't sure I could play, stepped into industries I wasn't qualified for, and entered rooms where I was the only woman, the only Indian, the only outsider. And every single time I've felt fear. But I've learned to use that fear as fuel, because when something scares you, it means it matters to you. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start, take the first step, make the call. Send the email, show up even if you're shaking. When I went to Hollywood, I didn't have connections or guarantees, but I had a dream to tell stories on a global stage, to represent women like me, to show that talent has no borders. I could have let the fear of rejection or failure stop me, but I didn't, because the dream was bigger than the fear, and here's what I've realized: failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every no you get, every door that closes, every person who doubts you, they're just stepping stones. Let them sharpen your resolve, let them remind you why you started. You're not supposed to have all the answers. You're supposed to have the hunger to keep going anyway. Sometimes your dreams will make people uncomfortable. That's okay. They weren't given your vision. You were. Sometimes even you won't believe you're worthy of them. That's okay too. Just keep moving, keep learning, keep showing up. Because the day will come when you look back and realize the thing that once scared you is now your reality. So don't downsize your dreams to match your current situation. Upgrade your mindset to match your dream, visualize it, speak it, breathe it into life. Even when your voice shakes, speak your dream out loud. Even when you're afraid, take that step forward and remember this: you don't need permission to dream big. Not from your parents, not from society, not from anyone. Give yourself permission, be your own biggest cheerleader, and when fear shows up, and it will, thank it for reminding you that you're on the edge of something extraordinary. Because at the end of the day, the size of your dream will always reflect the size of your belief in yourself. And you, my friend, are capable of something massive. There is incredible power in knowing who you are, and even more in standing tall in that truth. We live in a world that's constantly trying to label us, box us in, mold us into versions that fit someone else's comfort zone. But the truth is, real success, lasting, meaningful success, only comes when you embrace every part of who you are without apology. I've walked into many rooms where I was the only one who looked like me, sounded like me, or came from where I came from. When I started auditioning in Hollywood, I was told things like, "You're too ethnic," or "Can you do an American accent?" or "People here don't know how to place you." Imagine being reduced to something you didn't even think needed to be defended. Your identity. At first I tried to blend in. I softened my accent, I smiled more than I needed to, I tried to be less Indian, whatever that means. But it felt wrong. It felt like I was shrinking myself to fit into a space that was never designed for me to begin with. And that's when it hit me. Why should I change to fit in when I was born to stand out? The color of my skin, my heritage, my culture, my values, these aren't things I should hide. They're the very things that set me apart. The moment I started owning my identity instead of editing it, everything began to shift. I wasn't just another actress. I was an Indian woman bringing something new to the table. My differences became my strength, and that's what I want you to understand. You don't have to erase parts of yourself to be accepted. You just need to walk into every space like you belong, because you do. Owning your identity also means being honest about your story, where you come from, what shaped you, what you believe in. It's about recognizing your roots without letting them limit you. I'm proud to be from a small town in India. I'm proud to be the daughter of army doctors. I'm proud of my traditions, my upbringing, my resilience. None of those things held me back. They gave me the foundation to rise. They gave me perspective, and that perspective became my compass. But owning your identity isn't just about culture, race, or nationality. It's also about owning your quirks, your flaws, your voice. It's about not pretending to be someone you're not just to gain approval. Whether you're the loud one, the quiet one, the dreamer, the rebel, own it, that authenticity is magnetic. People may not always agree with you, but they will respect you for being real. When you own who you are, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror, you become proof that success doesn't have to come from assimilation. It can come from authenticity, and that's how change happens, not just in your life, but in the world around you. You see, the world doesn't need more copies, it needs originals. It needs people bold enough to walk their path, speak their truth, and represent their story with pride. That's how we expand the definition of what's normal, what's beautiful, what's worthy. So let them call you different. Let them misunderstand you. Let them try to fit you into a box. You just keep showing up as your whole, unapologetic self. That's your power, that's your edge, that's your legacy, and never forget. You are enough exactly as you are. Not in spite of your identity, but because of it. There's this idea many of us are taught, especially women, that we should only go after things when we feel completely prepared, completely qualified, completely ready. But let me tell you something that changed my life. Readiness is a myth. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, most of the biggest opportunities in my life showed up before I thought I was ready. When I was offered a chance to enter the Miss India pageant, I had no formal training, no catwalk experience, no polished persona. But I said yes anyway. I stumbled, I learned, and eventually I won. That moment changed the entire direction of my life. Years later, when Hollywood came knocking, I was terrified. I didn't know the system, I didn't know how I would be received, and I didn't have a road map. But I said yes to Quantico before I had figured it all out. I said yes before I had perfected my accent, before I felt like I fully belonged. And guess what? That yes opened doors. Not just for me, but for every girl who looked like me and dreamed of seeing herself on a global stage. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel worthy of them. They don't show up when everything is neatly in place. They come in messy, surprising ways. And it's up to you to have the courage to say yes to step into the unknown, even with shaky hands and a racing heart. Saying yes doesn't mean you'll never be scared. It means you do it despite the fear. It means trusting that you'll learn as you go, that you'll grow into the role, that you'll figure it out on the job. Confidence isn't something you always have before the leap. It's something you build on the way down, and let's be real. Men do this all the time. They walk into rooms with half the qualifications and double the confidence. Meanwhile, so many talented, brilliant women hold themselves back, thinking, maybe I need another degree. Or maybe I should get more experience first. No, sometimes all you need is a strong yes and the willingness to rise to the occasion. I'm not saying you should fake it. I'm saying you should bet on yourself. You have instincts, you have resilience, you have the ability to learn. So even if you're unsure, even if you feel underqualified, say yes. Then show up and do the work, because every time you say yes to something bigger than you, you expand. You stretch your limits. You grow in ways that comfort zones will never allow. You gain new skills, new connections, new confidence. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who waits, but as someone who goes for it. And listen, not every yes will lead to a perfect outcome. Some will challenge you, some might knock you down. But even in the missteps, there's growth, there's clarity. There's strength you didn't know you had. So the next time an opportunity comes your way and you hear that little voice saying, "You're not ready," I want you to answer with this, "Maybe not, but I'm willing, I'm capable, and I'll figure it out." Say yes even when it's messy. Say yes even when it scares you. Say yes to the version of you that's waiting on the other side of courage. Because that yes might just be the beginning of everything you've ever dreamed of. There's a myth that success is all about talent or luck, that if you're good enough, the world will just notice you. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work that way. Talent gets you in the door, but hard work is what keeps you in the room. In fact, it's what builds the room. If you want to create a life that excites you, inspires others, and makes a real impact, you have to be willing to work like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. I didn't become who I am by coasting. I didn't cross countries, industries, and languages by waiting for the perfect moment or the easy path. I worked, I hustled, I sacrificed sleep, comfort, and sometimes even peace of mind, because I believed in something bigger. I believed in myself. When I was filming in Bollywood, I'd sometimes shoot 3 films at the same time. That meant changing costumes, makeup, and even emotions between scenes and sets. Then I'd fly across continents to attend events, record music, or take meetings. It wasn't glamorous. It was exhausting, but I showed up every single time. Because when you've tasted your own potential, you can't settle for just enough. You want to see how far you can go, and you can only find out if you're willing to put in the work that others won't. You don't get to the top by doing the bare minimum. You get there by going the extra mile, by learning more than what's required, by staying late when everyone else has gone home, by choosing progress over perfection. I've always said, I may not be the most talented person in the room, but I'll be the most hardworking. That's what gives me an edge. That's what has kept me growing when others gave up. And let's be honest, hard work doesn't always get immediate recognition. Sometimes you'll give everything you've got and it won't be enough for someone else, but it has to be enough for you. You're not working just for applause. You're working to build something real, something lasting. You're working to become the person who can carry your own dream. There's no shortcut, no magic button. No one is coming to hand it to you. You have to earn it, day in, day out, and that doesn't mean burning yourself out. It means showing up with intention. It means bringing your full self to everything you do. Whether you're just starting or already climbing, the mindset has to be the same. I'm going to give this everything I've got. And when you fail, and you will fail, you don't give up. You adjust, you learn, you grow, because failure doesn't mean the end. It means you're trying. It means you're in the game. And trust me, the people who win long-term aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and come back even stronger. So ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to do the work when no one's watching? Are you willing to give 100% even when there's no guarantee of reward? Because that's the real test. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. At the end of the day, your work is a reflection of your belief in yourself. Show the world that you're not afraid of effort, not afraid of sweat, not afraid of the grind. Because when you work like your life depends on it, you send a message to the universe. I'm ready, I'm serious, and I'm not stopping until I make this happen. So dig deep, push harder, and never forget, there is no substitute for hard work. Not if you want to be extraordinary. Your voice is your power. It's the one thing no one else has. Your thoughts, your truth, your perspective, and yet too often we silence ourselves. We're told to not make waves, to stay polite, to not speak unless asked. But here's what I've learned. If you don't use your voice, someone else will define your story for you. When I was younger, I didn't always know how to speak up. I didn't always feel like I had the right to take space, to say no, to demand better. But experience and honestly a few scars taught me that staying silent never protects you. It only keeps you small, and I was not put on this earth to play small. Neither were you. Using your voice means standing up for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, it means knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. Whether it's speaking out in a boardroom, asking for what you deserve, or saying, "I don't agree," your voice matters. Your truth matters. No one else can live your life, so why let someone else speak over it? But it doesn't stop with you. Once you find your voice, you have a responsibility, a beautiful, powerful responsibility, to use it for others too. Because there are people who haven't found theirs yet. There are people who have been silenced by fear, by oppression, by circumstance. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is lend your voice to someone who hasn't been heard. That's why I speak up for girls' education. That's why I fight for equal rights and representation. Not because it's easy or always well received, but because I know what it's like to be underestimated. I know what it's like to be told you're too ambitious, or too bold, or too loud. And I know that if someone doesn't challenge that narrative, it just keeps repeating. We live in a world where speaking up is still seen as rebellion, especially for women. But we need rebels, we need disruptors, we need voices that say, "This isn't okay," and "We deserve better." We need people brave enough to speak truth to power, and that doesn't always mean being on a global stage or holding a microphone. Sometimes using your voice is as simple as saying no, or yes, or me too. Sometimes it's about standing up for the colleague who's being ignored in meetings. Sometimes it's calling out a joke that isn't funny or a system that's unfair. It's in the everyday moments that courage is built, and those moments matter. Now, using your voice doesn't mean being aggressive or loud for the sake of it. It means being intentional. It means choosing your words with purpose. It means speaking from a place of truth, not ego, but above all, it means refusing to be invisible. So if you've been quiet, if you've been waiting for permission, this is it. This is your sign. Use your voice. Speak up for your needs, your dreams, your people, whether it shakes, whether it stumbles. Use it anyway, because every time you do, you make it stronger. Every time you do, someone else gets braver too. There is power in being heard, there is power in being seen, and there is incredible, unstoppable power in choosing to be both, for yourself and for those who can't yet. The world doesn't need more silence. It needs more truth, and your voice, yes, yours, might be the spark that lights a fire someone else has been waiting their whole life to see. So speak, loudly, proudly, fiercely. You never know who's listening, and whose life might change because you did. Power isn't something you wait for someone to hand you. It's something you claim, step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. But for far too long, we've been taught to shrink when we should rise, to apologize when we should own the room. We're told to be ambitious, but not too ambitious, confident, but not intimidating, strong, but still likable, and to that I say, enough, don't apologize for your power, not for your strength, your drive, your presence, or your success. You weren't put on this earth to make others comfortable at the expense of your greatness. You were born to be powerful, and owning that power unapologetically isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It's knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and refusing to dim your light to fit someone else's shadow. For a long time I thought I had to tone myself down. I was told I was too much, too ambitious, too outspoken, too driven. People warned me not to be too bossy, or I'd scare people away. But here's the thing, the right people will never be scared by your power. They'll be inspired by it. The wrong ones, let them be uncomfortable. That's not your problem. Your job is not to fit in someone else's mold. It's to break the mold entirely. When I walk into a room, I bring all of myself, my heritage, my experience, my opinions, and yes, my ambition. I've worked for every inch of my success, and I've stopped saying sorry for wanting more. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy. It makes you driven. It means you know your potential. It means you respect yourself enough not to settle. Power doesn't mean dominating others. It means being rooted in your truth. It means knowing your worth, setting your boundaries, and standing firm in your values. It means making decisions not out of fear or guilt, but out of purpose. It means speaking your mind even when your voice shakes. It means saying no without explaining and yes without guilt. And let's talk about the way society often tries to police women's power. The minute we lead, we're called controlling. The minute we succeed, we're called lucky. The minute we assert ourselves, we're told we're difficult. But let me tell you, being difficult is not the worst thing in the world. Being ignored, underestimated, or invisible is. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to have dreams that scare people. You're allowed to walk into a room and own it without asking for permission. You don't need to apologize for being bold, loud, intelligent, successful, or emotional. Those are not weaknesses. They are layers of your power, and once you realize how powerful you are, don't just keep it to yourself, use it to lift others. Be the voice in the room that says, "She belongs here too." Be the one who helps other women unlearn the idea that they must choose between being powerful and being loved, respected, or accepted. You can be all of it, and more. If you've ever made yourself small so someone else could feel big, let this be the last time. You don't owe anyone an apology for being who you are. You owe it to yourself to live fully, fiercely, and without shame. So raise your hand, raise your standards, raise your voice, walk like you own every room you enter. Because when you stop apologizing for your power, something incredible happens. You inspire others to own theirs too. Remember, your power isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate.